Welcome to CrunchTime. You are now talking about with Shaheed Evans. As you know, CrunchTime has been around for a long time. As a matter of fact, I know who created CrunchTime, Kalan Hooks. He mainly broke down basketball during his segments and really put time into his videos. I think it's time that we welcome him back to CrunchTime. Kalan, welcome back to CrunchTime. Kalan, now tell CrunchTime what you do for ESPN.
I'm an associate editor for our trending topics team. So that ranges from being able to write stories for ESPN.com to editing stories to sometimes managing writers for ESPN.com. A lot of times, and sometimes I also work on what we call mid-range feature stories. So that's just a little, smidget of what I do here. But at ESPN, yes, I'm an associate editor for our trending topics team.
How did you come up with the name CrunchTime and what made you create CrunchTime?
Something that could resonate with sports fans, UAPB sports fans to be specific. But crunch time is also something that is like whatever portion you're whatever type of news you're getting, whatever type of information that you're getting within sports news, specifically UAPB sports news. It's within that crunch time window, meaning that it's vital, meaning that it's crucial that you know what's happening on the campus, what's happening in the athletic department of the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff.
I love the fact that you are bringing a lot of spotlight onto UAPB sports. Like you said, you wrote your own scripts and edited your own videos, but who all played a part with Crunch Time?
I mean, starting out, it was one of our professors, Mr. Trammell, who really it started off as a thing as part of the UAPB News Now daily newscast, and from there it just kind of like sparked in my mind like let's I think it could potentially be its own segment. It could potentially be its own show, and Mr. Trammell encouraged me to run with it, and I did. From there, I produced my own shows. I edited my own shows, wrote my own scripts. Mr. Kelly, he was a really great assistant at fact of being able to be at the TV station in those early mornings. When there would be days I'd be like, let's shoot at 7 or let's shoot at 8 o'clock. Mr. Kelly was never like, oh, that's too early. Like he was always there. He always had the studio set up and ready to go. So the only thing that we had to do was just come in, shoot. He'd give me the SD card. I'll go back to my dorm room and I edit all night. And then by the next morning, we'll have it published. So huge hat tips to Mr. Trammell and Mr. Kelly.
Now, not only did you do Crunch Time, but I do remember you working for the athletic department. What all did you do for them?
I would write the game stories. I write the preview stories. Quentin and Tay would do the creative content. And so also during the time that I was at the athletic department, like I said, I wrote every game story for men's basketball, wrote the game stories for football, wrote the game stories or the recaps for track and field. And so yeah, and then even too, whenever I could like get a little, if I could dip in a little bit of assistance too, I'll also, help out with Cameo Stokes, who's the director of strategic communications at SID at UAPB.
You were a busy man in college. With that all being said, what is some advice that you could give multimedia majors here at UAPB?
All it is a grind. It's a 24/7 grind, and it's something that you wake up. And though it might sound crazy to others, for me, it was something that I was always proud of. It was something that I always look forward to, like the joys of being able to wake up and grind, the joys of being able to wake up and work, and to be able to love to work.
Do you ever just wake up and think to yourself, like, man, I really work at ESPN and continue to want more for yourself?
Every day when I wake up, it's like, man, I get to go to work. I get to do this. This is what I get to do. I get to get in my car and I get to drive to ESPN's headquarters. When I get to campus and I scan my badge at the gate and I see the gates open up, it's like, man, God really blessed me with this opportunity. And it's never a day where, I'm going to settle. There's never a day where I'm not going to be humble. At the end of the day, it's just all about, being where your 2 feet are and giving your all every single day, you know what I'm saying? Because there might be a day where, news is just so heavy, so crazy. And then there's other days where news is just super light, nothing's going on or anything of that nature. But for me, I'm never settled as like, man, I finally made it here. Like, nah, like the first step is done. now, you know what I'm saying, the beginning stages are done. Now it's like, the real work starts now, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's heard that, when they, enter into their respective divine now organizations, like, okay, like now I got my letters, now the real work starts, it's something similar to that, in the work, in the workplace as well too. So I mean, every single day, I'm always humble. I stay, I'm hungry. I've said this before, I live by the Bible verse, Matthew 23:12. Every single day, he who was humble will be exalted. He who exalts himself shall be made humble. And I believe that if you maintain that humbleness within, the journey, if you maintain the humbleness, within the process, great opportunities, God will continue to bless you, will continue to bless you with great opportunities, excuse me.
What is some advice that you could give me with crunch time?
The thing about it is you're gonna have people, what I'm saying, that tell you like, you can't do something or that you shouldn't do something. And at the end of the day, if there's something that you really stand, 10 toes down on, if there's something that you really find yourself, very passionate about, if there's something that, you feel like, like this might be my calling, though other people might, what I'm saying, have doubt against you or doubt against that idea that you want, and you have the plans, what I'm saying, you have everything mapped out and laid out there. Who cares what people say? Who cares what people think? You know what I'm saying? Like I've had people, ton of people in my days, tell me like, I don't think you'll be, a sports journalist. I don't think that you'll be, what I'm saying? You sound like you're trying to be somebody else. At the end of the day, there's only one person, there's only one version of you. There will only be one version of you unless you have a junior, which, y'all are college students. But you know, the biggest thing, man, is just to stay 10 toes down on the grind, and really, what I'm saying, just give your 110%.
I thank you for all the advice, Kalan. I'll be sure to stay in contact with you and continue to stay on the grind.
Thanks for having me on, Shahid.
That's all I have for you today, Crunch Time. I'm Shahid Evans with your Crunch Time report. Stay in tune.